A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians. Brothers and sisters, be kind to one another, compassionate, forgiving one another as God has forgiven you in Christ. Be imitators of God as beloved children and live in love, as Christ loved us and handed himself over for us as a sacrificial offering to God for a fragrant aroma. Immorality or any impurity or greed must not even be mentioned among you. As is fitting among holy ones, no obscenity or silly or suggestive talk, which is out of place, but instead thanksgiving. Be sure of this, that no immoral or impure or greedy person, that is, an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Let no one deceive you with empty arguments, for because of these things, the wrath of God is becoming upon the disobedient. So do not be associated with them. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light. The word of the Lord. Hi. A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Brother Wall regarding the challenges before young men in today's society. How young men, much more than when I was young, are faced with strong secular influences and often do not have enough of a barrier around them to keep them safe. How I took Rawls' comments was that we must all view our fighting off the evil one with multiple forms of defense. These forms of defense may be our family, the friends we choose, going to Mass, actively participating in a prayer group or Bible study group, and the positive influence of faithful men and women in our lives. This morning, my Monday morning men's prayer group met at our home. Inspired by Rawls, I led a discussion which fit perfectly with today's reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians. I asked for our group, what can we do to be good men of faith and to help today's young men know that they are not alone in pursuit of a faithful life? The men came up with amazing ideas which I will pull together and share with you this week. At times, though, some of the men made comments like, what can we do? We don't know any young men. We could all say this in the face of the challenging environment before us. Let me share with you an example of what you have done and what you continue to do. Friday night, Mom and Devin had a conversation with the Ostlanders regarding Robin becoming interested in boys. My impression of the conversation is that Mr. Ostlander was overwhelmed by the thought of his daughter starting to date, and that he didn't know how to handle it. Devin spoke up to Mr. Ostlander to do what we have always done, which is to require the boy to come over and introduce himself to Mom and I. There are two positive, faithful results Devin created in this situation Friday night. The first was Devin encouraged Mr. Ostlander to be comfortable being a good dad and not to be influenced by others saying this isn't cool. She made it clear to him that it works. You may not realize this, but hearing a 19-year-old young woman say this type of parenting makes sense is a positive influence on a dad. The second is Devin encouraged me to continue this type of behavior as a dad. As a result, I'm going to call Mr. Ostlander this week and ask him if he has time to meet for coffee to discuss what it's like being the dad of teenage daughters. So we can have an influence on others in so many ways. Thanks, Devin. Just a gentle reminder to send me your prayers or stories for Stevie Mott. I love you in Christ, Dad.